Welcome. We're live on the Harrison Wilder channel, where my one goal is to encourage you as you move forward in your purpose. If you're a person of vision, someone who wants to make a positive impact in the world, then you're in the right place. So just put your shoulders back, give yourself a little tap, say, I'm a world changer. You know, in this show, I do things a little bit different. Even though I can't see you or hear you, I'm still going to ask you to participate by saying things aloud and by typing in the comments. Now, why would I do that? Because studies have shown that if you open your mouth and participate, then you're like 1,000 times more likely to retain the information I'm going to share with you. So how many of you want to walk away from this video with new insights, with new revelation to guide you? Raise your hand, say me, right? So now, how many of you would like to unlock the secrets to staying unstuck and moving forward into your God-given purpose every single day? Again, raise your hand. Say me, right? That's me. I see you guys there. Awesome. Listen, when you are determined to do something great with your life, you will encounter resistance. There will be storms that will come your way. Everybody say storms. And how you respond to those storms will determine the speed at which you will move forward toward all that you're destined to accomplish. Somebody say, I feel the need for speed. How many of you guys like that movie? Love that movie. Like, if we haven't met before, I'm Harrison Wilder, and today I'm giving you 5 secrets to moving quickly through your next storm. Yes, you will have another storm. Life is going to throw you some challenges, some difficulty, some setbacks. Maybe you're in one of those storms right now. But today you will discover the secrets to not only survive storms, but to come out stronger. Somebody say, I am an overcomer. So who wants the secrets? Who wants the secrets to not only overcoming, but moving through life's storms faster, quicker towards your purpose? Type in the comments. Give me a yes. I'm looking down the comments right now. Give me a yes. That's you. Awesome. I see you there, Purnell. Awesome. Here we go. All right. Secret number 1 for moving quickly through your next storm. Number 1, the storm isn't sent to destroy you. When David, who would become King David, was just a shepherd's boy tending to his father's sheep, no one knew who he was. He had already been anointed to be king over Israel, but it was a private ceremony, and no one even knew about it except his immediate family. Now, I wonder if that sounds familiar to you. You know that there is greatness inside of you. You know you've been called and even anointed for a purpose, but no one else seems to know. Life goes on, and everyone treats you the same. Nothing changes. The dream by itself, the vision all by itself, doesn't seem to change anything. And that's painful, right? It's like all of this excitement is pinned up on the inside with nowhere to go. You're still in the same job, still in the same place in your business. And it was the same for David. One day he's anointed king, and then the next day he's sent right back out to the shepherd's field. But on this particular day, watching the sheep, something was about to change. David was about to encounter a storm. Somebody say, storm. Have you ever been minding your own business, not even trying to stir up trouble, and bam, out of nowhere, a storm hits your life? Well, David looked up over the pasture, and running down the mountain towards his flock was a giant, hungry bear. Can you imagine the emotions you might feel? Here you are, supposed to be doing something great with your life. You already feel stuck. You already feel like no one cares about your dreams. And now this storm is threatening to take away what little that you have. But David didn't even have time to panic. Without even thinking about it, David picked up a slingshot and charged right towards the beast, scooping up rocks on the way. Shot after shot, he punished the intruder until the battle was over. The bear was dead, and David was victorious. No one saw it. David knew no one would even believe him if he shared the story. But this storm had accomplished its purpose. You see, David's storm wasn't sent to destroy him. The storm was sent to reveal him. Say that out loud. The storm didn't destroy him. The storm revealed him. And in this case, David was the only person who needed to know. The storm was sent to reveal David to David. From that point forward, David knew what he was capable of. Later, when he faced another storm, a much more public storm, Goliath, David would tell King Saul, I have killed both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine will be like one of them, since he has defied the armies of the living God. Are you getting what I'm saying here? Put in the comments, I get it, if you're starting to get it, right? How many of you are facing a private storm? No one even knows what you're going through. It's just you and the grace of God going into battle. Well, let me tell you, that storm wasn't sent to destroy you. The storm was sent to reveal you. Say it out loud. Talk to the storm. You weren't sent to destroy me. You can't destroy me. You can only reveal me. And some storms are only meant to reveal you to you and nobody else. The last 5 years or so, I've been an active day trader. And let me tell you, it's been a private storm. I thought it was going to be easy. I thought I was going to make tons of money for our family. But year after year, I didn't make money. Raise your hand if you've ever set out on a course that you thought was going to be profitable, but you ran smack into a storm. It's painful. It can be discouraging. And this particular storm revealed things in me that I didn't know were there. Difficult things, trust issues in my relationship with God, stress management issues, discipline issues. Storms aren't only sent to reveal the good stuff, but sometimes storms reveal areas where we can improve. But here's what you need to see. Those are the storms that strengthen you. They make you better. They reveal the shortcomings, the areas for improvement. And even those storms can never destroy you. They weren't sent to destroy you. They reveal you and make you better. Ever wonder why the scriptures say, consider it all joy when you encounter various trials? Go ahead and type that in the chat. All joy. I'm going to do it in the chat right now myself. All joy. All joy. Consider it all joy when you encounter various trials. Oh man, in just a second, your eyes are going to open and you're going to start jumping up and down, thanking God for every storm he's going to allow to come your way. I mean, think about this. What finally moved David from the shepherd's field into real prominence and influence in his country? What set him on the national stage? It was a storm. It was a trial. Goliath was threatening to destroy not only David, but his entire country, his entire way of life. Everything was hanging in the balance. This was a very public storm. But David already knew who he was. He had faced the private storms. They had shown him who he was and what he was capable of. And he rushed Goliath the same way that he had rushed the bear, but this time, all of Israel was there to see it. That storm wasn't sent to destroy him. That storm was sent to reveal him to others. And I want to tell you something. If you'll learn to embrace life storms, if you will charge into them, knowing that they cannot destroy you, then God will position storms at just the right moment in front of just the right people, and they'll reveal you in a whole new light. People will begin to see you for who you really are. How many of you could use some storms like that in your life? How many of you could welcome some storms like that? Come on, throw your shoulders back and say it with me. This storm isn't sent to destroy me. It's sent to reveal me. Now, secret number 2 for moving quickly through your next storm is this. You are only as strong as what you're attached to. When Eileen and I first started dating, our relationship was rough. We didn't communicate well together. We had massive differences in how we like to do things. We started building a relationship of mutual respect and trust, but it seemed like the tiniest storm could knock us off of our feet and cause us to question everything about our relationship. A disagreement would turn into an argument. Things would be said or not said. And all the trust we had built would just be kind of washed away. And it felt like we were back at the starting point. It was heartbreaking and exhausting at times. Have you ever felt that way? Let me know in the chat, just so I know that I'm not alone. Say, I've been there, right? I've been there before. Have you ever invested time and energy into something, a relationship, a business, a dream, only to see all your progress washed away in the storm? You thought you were finally moving forward, but after the storm cleared, you realized you were just back to the beginning. Well, some storms are not sent to destroy you, but they can set you back over and over and over again until it feels like you're not making any progress at all. How many of you know someone who seems to move from one crisis to another? Every time you talk to them, they are in a new storm. And with every storm, their life resets back to zero. They don't ever seem to move forward toward their purpose. Well, for Eileen and I, the problem was simple. Neither of us were equipped with solid relationship building principles, say solid principles. We were attempting to build a relationship, but we didn't have a principle-based foundation that could stand through even the smallest storm. So our relationship kept getting knocked down. I drive home many nights in those early days wondering if we were getting anywhere. Maybe you felt like that. You're wondering if there is any hope of moving forward toward your purpose. Well, there is hope. In Matthew chapter 7, Jesus tells us a very brief parable. He says that everyone who hears his words and acts on them will be like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain fell and the floods came and the winds blew and slammed against that house. The storm came, and yet it did not fall, for it had been founded on the rock. Someone say, solid principles. It didn't take long for Eileen and I to realize that we needed help. We started reading books on relationships. We started gleaning wisdom from others who had relationships like we wanted. We started to gain understanding on how relationships really work. And then we started to build our relationship on those solid principles. And it honestly didn't take long. We started building something that could weather storms. And we've been weathering storms together now for 20 years. But here's my advice. Don't work against principles. There are solid principles that govern the way the world works in relationships, in business, in wealth building, in raising a family. Discover the principles and build everything you do around them. Say it after me. Work with the principles. And when the storm comes and goes, what you're building will still be there. Say, I'm building something that's going to last. For me, my Christian faith supplies me with the solid principles that I'm building my life on. I look for them in the Bible. I ask God about them when I'm praying. I have mentors that have revealed them to me. But where are you discovering the solid principles that will guide you? Remember, you are only as strong as what you're attached to. So choose wisely and get out there and build something that will stand through the storms. Here's secret number 3 for moving quickly through your next storm. You can only move forward if you know where you're going. From ancient times, navigators on the open sea would rely on the heavens to guide them. At night, the North Star always sits over the North Pole. And of course, during the day, the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. They use these celestial bodies to determine their location and to plot a course toward their final destination. Say that after me. Final destination. When a storm arose, as you can imagine, they would likely lose sight of these celestial guides. The storm had to become the focus of their attention, not only surviving the storm, but doing their best to stay on course during the storm. Somebody say, stay on course, right? When the storm cleared, their guides would reappear, and inevitably they would have blown off course to some degree, so they adjusted their heading and kept moving to the final destination. Say it again, final destination. I'm sure you can relate to this experience. You're navigating your way toward your vision, and a storm hits, a financial setback, an unexpected health challenge, difficulties in your relationship. The storm requires your attention. And so you faced a storm while trying to keep things moving in the right direction toward your vision. And once the storm clears, you adjust course and keep moving forward. I know in our business, we try and engineer moments where we can rise above whatever storms we're facing, get our bearings, and adjust course if needed to get moving toward our final destination, which is the vision for our company. For us, our quarterly meetings are helpful for that. We rise above the clouds together and set a course for the next few months. These regular check-ins are as important for us and for our business as consulting with the celestial guides was for ancient navigators on the open sea. Too many days caught up looking only at the storms, and we can get completely off course. And maybe you felt this way. I'm so focused on each storm that comes your way, avoiding the storms you can see, consumed by the storms you're in, that you don't feel you're making any progress at all. You might be surviving the storms, but you're asking yourself, is this really what life is all about? Just surviving one storm after another? Who can be honest and raise your hand if you've ever asked that question? Well, of course, life is more than that, but you can only move forward if you know where you're going. Say it again, final destination. I can't imagine that anyone would set out into the open seas without taking the time to articulate where they wanted to go. Even the old adventurers, they were looking for new trade routes, or some were looking for treasures that they had heard about, but all of them could tell you at least the direction of their final destination. It was the clarity of their final destination that enabled them to plot a course, to use the stars to guide them, and to emerge from storms and still make forward progress. Can you imagine a captain navigating her ship through a storm without a final destination? Somebody say, that's nuts. But if you were to entertain the idea, maybe let's just entertain the idea for just a bit. First of all, without a final destination, when the captain sees a storm brewing over the horizon, what will be her first move? I think you can figure this out. Put it in the comments. Right? What do you think? What do you think the first move would be? That's right. Run. She has no destination. She has no need to go through the storm. So she's going to attempt to avoid it. That crew will spend all the energy they can to outrun it, go around it, whatever it takes. And if all that fails and they wind up inside of the storm, what do you think the captain's main objective is going to be? To get out of it. The quickest path possible, right? Or if it's really bad, she might decide not to fight it and just let the storm carry them wherever it wills. It may take longer that way, but they'll survive the storm and they'll live to see another day on the open sea. Somebody say, that's nuts. Somebody say, what's the point of that? It wouldn't take long for the captain and her crew to feel like life is just a series of storms, running from storms, surviving storms, looking and preparing for the next storm. And if you feel that way, it's possible that you've lost focus on the one thing that makes everything else make sense. You know what it is. Say it with me. The final destination. You can only move forward if you know where you're going. It might be easy for us to make fun of a captain who sails into the open seas with no destination, but I want you to think back to the sage advice most of us got when we left home to start out on our own. Go to college so you can get a good job that has a great retirement. If you think about it, what is the real motivation behind that advice? It's simply to avoid the storm of being poor. It's not advice based on a final destination. It's plotting a course to avoid a storm. And I'm sure whoever gave you that advice was well-intentioned. They didn't want you to struggle. They didn't want you to wind up destitute. But they may not have understood. They may not have understood that you're a person of vision. They may not have understood that the one thing that will keep you motivated, pressing on, overcoming storms, making progress in life is the clarity of your final destination. Forward progress in life doesn't come from avoiding storms, because you can only move forward if you know where you're going. Say, I need a clear destination. Somebody say, I don't want to blow around aimlessly from storm to storm. One of our favorite scriptures to share with our clients is in Habakkuk chapter 2, and it says, write down the vision and make it plain, that he may run who reads it. It's important to have a clear vision so that you navigate towards it at all times. How much attention have you given to clarifying your final destination? It's a good use of time to write it down, to envision yourself achieving your dreams, to imagine experiencing all the emotions associated with where you want to go. The more clarity you have, the more clearly you can see the final destination in your mind's eye, the easier it is to set your course and to make progress. You're not going to run away from storms. If they sit between you and your final destination, you'll take them head on. You'll let them serve their purpose on your journey, and you'll move through them toward your purpose. So what's your final destination? What heading will you keep coming back to? Take a lot of comfort in knowing that ships out there on the open seas are off course like 90% of the time. It's true for planes and rocket ships as well. Their journey is full of constant readjustments back on course toward their final destination. And it's the same with you. Don't fool yourself into thinking that you're going to plot one course one time and never have to adjust it. Storms will come. Distractions will come. You're going to get blown off course. And that's why it's so important to stay in tune with where you're going. The more frequently you think back to your final destination and readjust, the quicker you'll get there. So remember, and you can fill in the blank, you can only move forward if you know where you're going. Secret number 4 from moving quickly through your next storm: get rid of the excess cargo. Have you ever watched one of these movies where someone crash lands in the middle of a desert and has to walk like 100 miles in the heat to get back to civilization? Every time as the camera pans towards the hero, there is a long set of footprints behind him. And along the trail of footprints are discarded items that they cast aside during their journey. Somebody say, excess cargo. There's something about a crisis that forces us to shed off the unnecessary things that are weighing us down. It seems to be the same for ships when they enter into a heavy storm. Most stories that I've read about ships and violent storms, at some point, the crew starts throwing overboard any excess cargo to lighten the ship. It's another advantage of storms. These storms that reveal things about us that we wouldn't otherwise know, they help us see with crystal clarity what we're carrying around that is helpful and what we're carrying that's just creating drag and holding us back. You may have recently come out of a storm and you know what I'm talking about. There's some things that you left behind in the storm. Maybe some unhealthy mindsets, maybe some unhealthy relationships, maybe even physical assets that were holding you down. They were part of your life for a season, but you had to cut them loose in order to survive the storm. They were adding too much weight. Well, the good news is that now that you're on the other side of the storm, you're lighter. You've got less drag. You're able to move quicker toward your destination. Someone say, I'm getting rid of the excess cargo. But it's not just external things that we carry around. We also carry internal things inside our soul. I faced a lot of rejection when I was a young kid. I was a romantic at heart, but I didn't have good interpersonal skills when it came to kids my own age. And after one particularly hurtful encounter in the 5th grade, I made a silent vow. I was going to be successful. People were going to adore me, and I wasn't going to need anybody. Can you relate? Have you experienced something similar? Some childhood trauma, some relational void, and you took on a weight, a vow, an internal determination? Never again. If you're like me, you didn't realize it at the time, but it was a powerful moment, a decision anchored in hurt that would drive you for years to come. For me, it started out innocent enough. I became more motivated, focused on success. I chased some girls, but at the first hint of rejection, I'd throw myself back into my worldwide domination schemes. But there were unhealthy sides. I needed to be the best. I could never let myself truly appreciate others for their strengths. I pushed my body beyond its limits. And I avoided true intimacy in relationships. Why am I sharing this? I want you to see that we pick up internal cargo things in our soul that become part of the baggage we carry around. And I'm asking you, what kind of cargo are you carrying around in your soul? It may be difficult to see it now, but the storms in life are what will reveal them to you. It all came to a head for me my junior year in high school when my body stopped working. One of my lungs gave out, and after lung surgery, I found myself unable to do almost anything for a season. Couldn't think right because of the medication, couldn't do any of the activities I used to do. It was a storm. And to make it through, I was going to have to let go of some things internally. Say, I'm getting rid of the excess cargo. And what do you need to let go of? Some of these internal vows may have served you well in the past. They may have protected you from very real danger. They may have even kept you motivated and focused, but they may no longer be serving you. And that's one of the purposes of the storms that come our way. They reveal those things inside that are no longer serving us. Your soul is like a garden, and this garden is producing all kinds of fruit in your life. Some of the fruit is good: love, joy, peace, and it's serving you well. Those are good trees in your soul that are worth cultivating and investing in. But there are trees in there that are producing bad fruit. How many of you know what I'm talking about? It's affecting your health, your relationships. It's weighing you down, setting you back. Those trees are producing strife, anxiety, bitterness, and they won't survive the next storm. In fact, the quicker you can cut those trees down and get them out of your soul, the quicker you'll be moving through the next storm. Say, I'm getting rid of the excess cargo. And if you're bold enough, say this too. Repeat this. Say, unforgiveness, you have to go. Self-loathing, you have to go. Endless comparison, I'm getting rid of you. You've got to go. Being judgy of everyone and myself, you have to go. I'm getting rid of the excess cargo. Well, come on and just take a minute and give yourself a round of applause right there where you are, because you're about to move lighter. You're about to move faster, leaner, charging forward into the fullness of your destiny. Well, we're on secret number 5. Excuse me. Secret number 5 for moving quickly through your next storm. And this one really is a secret, so don't tell anyone. But the game is rigged. We're spending part of our summer here on an island off the coast of New England. And in one of the little towns here, there's an arcade. And my son and I have gone there several times already this summer. And they had these games where you insert money and get a chance to grab a stuffed animal out of a box using a metal claw that's kind of connected to a joystick. And so my 8-year-old puts his money in there all excited. He has his eye on the stuffed animal that he wants. He maneuvers the joystick perfectly. The claw goes down. It grabs the stuffed animal and starts pulling it up out of the box and toward my son. At this point, we both get pretty giddy. And then at the last possible second, the weight of the stuffed animal is just too much, and it slips out of the claw and back down into the machine. It's really an emotional roller coaster. But my son, when that happens, loves to yell at the top of his lungs for everyone in the room to hear, "This game is rigged!" But could you imagine if you and your kid were playing the same arcade game together, and every time you dropped the claw, it came out with a perfect prize? It didn't matter if you played perfect. It didn't matter if you lined it all up just right. As long as you play, you get the prize. Now that's a game rigged in your favor. Well, I've got good news for you about your next storm. The game is rigged. You can't lose. In fact, the storm was designed to accomplish something for you. It's like every time you encounter a storm, you get a prize. And all you have to do is show up. Somebody needs to say, "Thank you, Jesus. The game is rigged in my favor." Let's go back to James chapter 1, verse 2. Consider it all joy when you encounter various trials, storms, knowing that the testing of your faith produces endurance, and let endurance have its perfect result, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. God knows exactly what you need to get you to your destination. And the storms along the way aren't there to destroy you. They're there to reveal something in you, to accomplish something in you, to help you let go of the weights that are holding you down. I wonder how different your life would be if you realized that the storms are working in your favor. Even the most difficult situations, good things are coming from it. Because my Bible says that, behold, all things, say, all things are working together for good for those who love God and are called according to his purpose. I know it's rough in the middle of the storm. I know it's challenging. I know it seems like nothing is working. But it's got to help to know that the game is rigged and you're going to come out of this thing stronger, smarter, leaner, more determined, more focused, and charging forward toward your purpose. If you believe that, say, the game is rigged in my favor. Don't you ever let a storm get you down. Consider it all joy when you face a storm, because God is doing his perfect work in you and moving you toward your purpose. Somebody say it again. The game is rigged. Well, listen, if you've enjoyed what you're hearing today, make sure to click the subscribe button and turn on the bell so you get notified. You get notified next Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, when I'll be back right here live on the Harrison Wilder channel. For now, good night.